Today's the day of a podcast that was canceled for about 19 seconds, according to my chat logs with Paul Thurrott.
Right.
Wasn't supposed to happen. I actually forgot to mention it yesterday, but we were going to go kayaking today. We had a plan to go kayaking before it got too hot. It's supposed to be from like 9 to 11. Should have been perfect. They called us up this morning. Said, okay. Actually, we're canceling all kayaking today because of the rain, of which it is not raining. Currently, it's actually sunny. And here we are.
It's like when United canceled my flight home from Mexico because of weather, and there was no weather.
Yeah, my gut tells me that maybe, I don't know, 9 a.m. on a Wednesday morning, maybe there just weren't enough people signed up, and they're like, it's not worth the time.
Well, Brad, you'll be happy to know that I am celebrating this news with a hot cup of us, which my son found in his room and during a decluttering thing yesterday. This is from our 2019 Health of Tech event.
Cup of us. I have a couple of those actually around here somewhere.
I haven't seen this in a long time. I don't think we have any. Well, now we have one, but
I was gonna say you at least got one.
Put it up there.
Another late breaking news: Microsoft continues to meddle with the Insider program. Just gonna.
So I did find the silver lining to this one.
Oh, wow.
Which is first explain how they did. So if you can, it's complicated. I will, I guess. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say you. I want to hear the silver lining because.
Basically, they have a beta channel, and one of the issues with the Insider program is that they do A/B testing. And I don't have to make the same argument over and over again, but you get the idea. So they just announced a major new form of A/B testing. Although they've done this kind of thing before, I got to look this up. There's this notion of an enablement package, which is sometimes gets you from one place to another in Windows 10 or 11. It might get you to Windows 11. It might get you to Windows 11, version 22H2, whatever it is. So they split the beta channel into two. There are two different builds. Most people will be on the first, we'll call it Group A. They don't call it that, but that's what it is, right? Group A, which gets or can get new features, although those new features will only slowly roll out and whatever. And then a smaller group, the B group, will not get those new features. They're on a different build number, but it's the same stuff minus the new features. Why Microsoft would do such a thing, who cares? The good news is if you're in the B group, you can actually seek to get updates in Windows Update, and you will get the enablement package, and then you will or will not get those new features, but you'll get the new, the other build, and you can move over that way. So I don't approve of this kind of thing ever. I will say giving those people who got screwed, in my view, a way to get out of it, it makes it a lot more acceptable. So, I'm not going to be a freak about this, but A/B testing, it's no good. It's no good. You know what is good, Brad? I saw Top Gun Maverick last night in the theater.
No, do not spoil this.
What can I possibly spoil?
Right, I haven't seen it,
dude. It's a one-sentence plot. Look,
I've played. Before you say anything.
No, hold on. It's important for you to hear this because I think the first movie was terrible. We just rewatched it, and this movie is actually pretty great. It's pretty great. It's way better than if you look at the reviews of it, almost everyone is saying this. Like, this is a way better movie than the first one. It's not just more modern and better made. It's more of a movie. The other thing they don't do, which was one of my big pet peeves with the first one, they don't play the same three songs over and over and over again. There's different music throughout it. That Danger Zone thing only comes up one time in the very beginning in the credits, which, by the way, looks exactly like the credits of the first movie, but whatever. And they have new music and stuff. And so I think it's a good movie. I'll just leave it at that.
I feel like I've got the plot based on the flight sim missions that they have you do, like in the game.
Interesting.
But I'm still just
I'm not gonna. No, I'm not. I would never. There's not much to ruin.
The plot is.
It's like pretty simple, but you know what? It's well made. A lot of great actors. Action sequences were actually easy to understand. One of my big. I'll do this twice probably. Like, I don't understand in the first Top Gun. Is his big trick that he puts the brakes on? Is that what we're talking about? Like so the other planes blow by him and then he's behind him and then he shoots him. Like that's the big strategy this genius came up with. There's more of that, but it's, yeah, it's good. It's good. I listen. Everyone knows I can be highly critical.
Really?
But with that in mind, I don't have much. It was a good movie. Like we saw that Jurassic Park thing. I wanted to poke my eyes out. It was awful. I love dinosaurs. Love Jurassic Park things. You know.
Yeah.
I hated that movie. It was awful. It was just like horrible, disrespectful. It was bad. This movie, awesome. And you know what? This was one of those movies that was going to come out that first pandemic year, and they were like, "No, we're holding off at the theater, holding off." And a lot of other movie production companies or whatever, movie houses, whatever, gave in and kind of went direct to streaming or did a little bit of both or whatever. And the whole time they were like, "No, we're waiting for the theater." And I got to tell you, it's worth seeing in the theater, especially if you can do like a Dolby Atmos, you know, whatever. It was awesome. Awesome. It was, you know, it's simple, whatever, but that's fine. It was fine, but way better than the original. Way better.
Well, there's a good chance
You
I'm
guys
going
will
to
come
end up
back and be like, I found the plot a little too complex.
I might find out. I'm probably going to be at the movie theater actually after this podcast because I think we're going to go see a movie now that we're not kayaking because.
Sure, but I'm sure it's going to be some Minions movie. Or
it's exactly going to be the Minions movie, most likely, because we got to take the 9-year-old, and apparently it's inappropriate to put your 9-year-old in a Minions movie while Corinne and I went and watched Top Gun.
That should be a form of daycare.
It should be. It should be. Just load her up with some sodas and sugary crap.
Yep.
Either way. Things you won't be playing at the theater. This is a bad segue. Either way, Microsoft sent out, it was sort of a weirdly phrased email.
Yes.
But what it amounts
sort of. There were people on Twitter who were like, no, this makes total sense. And there were other people like you and I who were like, I'm not 100% sure what this even means.
So what they're doing is starting in October, there will be no more Xbox 360 games and games with gold. Now, two thoughts on this. One, I didn't even know they needed to send an email for this. I mean, they could have just been like, hey, we're just moving on.
You know what? I've been wondering about this for a while because, you know, every month we kind of cover what's coming this month. And, you know, as the years go by, it's like, Xbox 360 games? Like, really? I mean, you know, they're getting a little long in the tooth, right? So, anyway.
Either way, they're going to stop including them, but you'll still be able to play your old games. But the way it was phrased, it kind of sounded like they were pulling like all their old stuff, which isn't true.
The first part. Yep.
And really, basically what it means is that games with gold will probably get actually maybe a bump because it's only going to be Xbox One games, so there's a better chance of them being...
Let me stop you there because that was my second question.
Yeah. And
this is another question I've had about games with gold, which is there are too many games something and the Xbox game something. I mean, there is a difference, right? So we have Xbox One games out in the world. I don't mean in games with gold, but there's also this notion of like Xbox Series S and X games, right? Like I think oftentimes one game will be available for all three of those consoles and you'll get whatever experience based on the console, I think. But I mean, and I don't know, I do know. I mean, at some point, and this has probably already happened with some games, you're going to have games that are specific to the new consoles that will not target Xbox One. I would imagine, maybe that actually hasn't happened, but it's going to
No, it
happen,
has.
right?
It has. Flight Sim.
Flight Sim. There you go. Good. Okay, perfect. That's a great example. So brand new game. It's now you can stream it. So if you have an Xbox One, you can actually
caveat.
Yeah. But you would imagine a lot of third-party titles, eventually Call of Duty, something, whatever it is, will be only for X and S. And then you get into this weird situation where, okay, I have an Xbox One. What do I do? Will Xbox Game Pass? No. Will Xbox games with gold, ever have Series X, S, and One games? I always kind of thought, like, at some point maybe they'll divide it that way. Like, you know, instead of 2 360 games, they'll have 2 One games. Instead of the 2 One games they had before, they'd have 2 X and S games, or something, if that makes sense. I don't know. And that was not addressed in any way in that announcement. And it also makes me wonder if, I keep wanting to say Game Pass, games with gold has it already ever had any games that will not run on Xbox One? Probably not. I would guess no. Or I would guess no. Right? But I don't know.
Either way, I'm still surprised they have games with gold, to be honest. I thought that was going to be an email saying, when I saw like the headline, it's like, changes to games with gold. I was going to be like, that's it. Like, they're done.
Well, in some ways, it's the one remaining. No, it's not unique though, is it? I was gonna say unique perk for Xbox. I'm losing my mind. Live Gold.
Yeah.
But it's not exactly. So I mean, I guess we have to view these subscriptions as tiers, and the lowest end tier is Gold, and you get multiplayer, you get the games with Gold, and maybe a smattering of small other things. Probably like whatever their matchmaking capability is for multiplayer, whatever that is, blah blah blah, whatever. But it's not a lot, right? I mean, I keep waiting for them to get rid of that. You know?
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, that would be the first thing I would put on the chopping block. Look, if you bought a new game recently, these things are like $70 to start now. So you have this Xbox Live Gold subscription that's about $60, not on sale, compared to what's the cheapest Game Pass is probably $120, but if you buy a year, it's like $100 kind of thing. That's a reasonable bump, right?
Yeah,
Maybe?
I was thinking about this because there's the Activision stuff is still going through. Actually, the UK announced today they're going to look at the transaction or whatever. Either way, let's assume that it does go through, and by July 1 of next year, Microsoft owns Activision. There is a better than good chance that I will buy my last video game for the foreseeable future this fall. It'll be Call of Duty. I mean, that's what I'll buy. Right. And then if it's not in Game Pass, it's like, I'm just not playing it.
Wow. The other thing they could do is just make those multiplayer enhancements available to everybody, and then it becomes a bonus because the people who are just paying for that will be happy. They're not paying anymore, and then they'll get others to upgrade, I guess, to those free games. I mean, you could make the argument the 4 free games every month or something. Make it 6 games or whatever. I mean, and just make it available to people who are paying at a higher tier.
Yeah, who knows? We'll see.
Who knows? Exactly.
Who knows?
Not us.
Certainly not us. So anyways, we'll wait to see if that Activision, if it does close and when, we'll find out. Other things in the world of whatever. Either way, that's all we got. We'll be back tomorrow.
Unless you go kayaking.
I want to go kayaking. That's the problem.